Thank you very much for coming to our seminar. I'm going to very quickly run through a couple of slides and then hand over to Jean-Christophe, who I guess is the reason you're here, not to listen to me. So just a brief introduction. The title of today's seminar, or the invitation, if you like, is to invite you to hear about how RCI Banque were able to have an overview outsourcing project that benefited accounts, finance and procurement departments. Jean-Christophe Lebert is the Chief Procurement Officer for the bank, and has been for many years, and he'll explain more about his role in the process. Very quickly, my name's John Owens. I'm the Regional Director for BPAC in UK and the rest of Northern Europe. Some of the reasons that BPAC, or that RCI Banque chose BPAC, the fact that we were founded in 2000, our 15th year, which is a large achievement in this industry, and more importantly, the fact that we can address all the issues. B in BPAC stands for business. So yes, it's a P2P project we're talking about today, but it's very much a product which is able to look at all processes within the business that impact on procurement and finance. And finally, from my point of view, one of the main attractions again to RCI Banque was that BPAC have a modular structure. So that structure can be availed of when and if required, rather than having to purchase or go through change management for duplications within your current ERP. It can be start off with one or two modules and then develop to the whole modules that are available. So those are very much a summary of the reasons why RCI Banque thought that BPAC could be a provider. And I'll pass over to Jean-Christophe.
Okay. Good afternoon. I don't have the same accent, so I'm sorry. I'm the CPO of RCI Banque. RCI Banque is in the automotive finance and services. And a couple of years ago, we knew that we had something to do about the purchasing at RCI, because we had some difficulties and ways of improvement. So we knew that we wanted to do something, but we didn't know how at that time. 2 years ago, we started this project, wondering what to do, and we launched an RFP, request for proposal, and we put many vendors at that time, because we were wondering what was the market, what the market was, and what the solutions were. At the end, we had 2 vendors in our shortlist, and we had the BPAC. And we decided to choose BPAC for many reasons. I will try to explain which ones. And when we decided to choose to have a project with BPAC, it was at the beginning of 2013. We agreed all around the table on that choice, and I will try to explain why. So around the table at that time, we had the head of the accounting, the head of the controlling, the head of the purchasing, myself, and we were 11 people saying that, okay, we want to choose. We think that this solution is the best one for our needs and scope parameters. Yeah. Why we wanted to do a project? It's not a project about having a new solution, having a brand new tool, etc. We wanted to try to create a new function around the purchasing. So it's about indirect purchasing at first, and we wanted to give people, to provide our users with a simpler tool to try to convince people to use our solution and try to soothe the way things were managed before that project. So we knew that We had some spend management controls insufficient. We knew that we had some paper invoices all around the company. It worked at that time, but it was very time-consuming for many users in the accounting, in the controlling, the end users, in the purchasing department, etc. So what we put in our RFP is we wanted to have a solution that fits our solution, fits our expectations. We wanted it to be robust. We wanted it to be simple. We wanted it to be the best solution, to be able to convince people to use it. Once we choose BPAC, this solution, we started the project on April 2013, and at the end of the same year, so we launched Pure. It's the internal name for purchasing refundation. When we launched Pure, first of all, we were in the target in terms of schedule, in terms of budget were achieved, so it was a relief. We wanted to launch this new tool, this new solution before the end of the same year for many reasons. And at the end of 2013, we were ready. Now, what could be said 15 or 16 months later? We are very happy to have this solution. Why? First of all, we wanted this solution to be bought by our users. Before this project, we had the SAP module MM for material management for more than a decade, and our users were quite reluctant to using this solution. So we had many drawbacks, many difficulties to make people issue their purchase requests at the good time and the right time, etc. And now we provide our users with a tool, with a solution that provide them with the ability to do what they want to do at the right time. So it's a big change for them. We wanted to clean this up too with all the paper invoices, and we wanted to make all the end of this part electronic, fully automated. And so we, during the RFP process, we asked BPAC to find a partner for this automation, and they found a partner as well with Ritsoft Online and a local supplier in France. So all our invoices are sent by our suppliers to to a specific address, and at the end we have an electronic. I don't know how to say it in English, an electronic dossier facture invoice folder with the electronic scan, the scan of the invoice and the recognition of the data on the invoices, on the invoice. So it's perfect for us because we can make the end user who issues a purchase request will receive at the end of this story the invoice folder. So it's very short, and it's very optimized for them. We wanted to to follow our spend, to do spend management. It was quite difficult to do it before this project. At the very same time, we had another project for trying to revamp the controlling costs of the company. And when we created Pure, we developed some interfaces with this controlling REP2. I don't know if it's clear. Don't hesitate to ask me questions if you wish. So now we have full budget visibility and approval process within Pure, within our solution. We don't receive any more paper invoices at RCI. The scope of this solution is France and corporate, and we intend to deploy it in within the G4 this year. We intend to deploy it also for direct purchasing. So we are very happy with our solution because we can create a story, and it's only the beginning of the story, actually. So after 6 months after the rollout, we had no internal discussions about the choice of this solution. So it was change management, etc. So it was, at the very first time, very difficult to make people understand what we wanted to do, to make people change their habits, etc. But after 6 months, we had the full PRP and contract management process stabilized. So we were happy with that. And now we are at year 2, and we are about to deploy this solution for direct purchasing and for the G4. What could be said also is that we have less people involved in this process. We have less controlling people. We have less accounting people. So we have managed to put less people in this process. So for this, we have the user who issues a purchase request, and we do our job to transform this purchase request into a purchase order. And at the end, the invoice folder is directly sent, if the invoice is of quality, directly to the user. So we have less people, and we were quite satisfied with that too, because we wanted less people to be involved in this process. At the end, we still work with SAP, but only for the transfer, for the bank transfers. It means that at the very end of this process, when the invoice folder has been approved by the end user, the order, the go is given to SAP for the bank transfer. So it's fully compatible too with SAP ECC6, and we put also a solution called SaaS Financial Management plugged into this Pure for the cost controlling as well. So at the beginning of 2013, we had more than 800 suppliers. We had too many suppliers. We managed to have this figure reduced by the end of last year. We are able now to define a strategy. Before that, it was very difficult to know what to do in order to enhance, to improve this process. How many suppliers should we have per family? How many spent by family, etc. Now we have figures, and we know what could be done to be able to improve our purchasing for France and corporate. We are very keen on using the report module. The report module is integrated into this tool, and we've built more than 100 reports for many needs and many users, many profiles, in order to be able to control and try and to come up with solutions or ways of improving our processes. So end users, report for end users, reports for controlling people, reports for accounting people, reports for the purchasing department, etc. So we are very proud of using this report module as well, because at that time we didn't know that they had a report module when we chose that solution. And in fact, after 1 year, we are very keen on using this integrated module. This is the schedule of our project. In order to achieve this schedule, it was very difficult to be ready by the end of that year. We have a tough project because when we talk about a purchasing project, you have difficulties everywhere to make people understand what you want to do, to make your vendor understand what you want to do. So we had to come up with a specific way of doing this project with specific workshops at the beginning to define our needs. We asked BPAC also to come up with a different way of building this project in terms of management. And we didn't want to rely on an integrator to build this solution. So it was a direct communication between RCI and between BPAC. And we asked BPAC to do the project management, and we asked them to advise us to fully comply on our needs. We wanted to have the most standard solution possible. We didn't want to create specifics or create specific functions for RCI. We wanted to use the standard solution if possible. And at the end, when we used the very first time Pure at the end of 2013, 90% of our solution was standard. The specific were about interfaces with SAP, mostly. The ease of use is very important because with our previous solution, we had difficulties to make people use SAP MM. So during the project, we asked many people, around 20 to 30, to attend our workshops and to see what they would have at the end. And they were very happy to see that they had different screens, that they were able to understand what they had to do and without reading any guides. We created some guides at the end for the rollout, but they are not very used, and it's perfect like this. We have a better control on our spending, on our purchasing costs. We know now which suppliers to work with. We know what to do in terms of strategy. I won't give you details, but it's easy now to understand what should be done. Before this project, we were not sure about what could be done on such or such a topic. Now we know that we are at the very beginning of this conversation, but we know what to do. Vendor payments, yes, and visibility, yes. I'm not here to say that this solution is the best solution. I don't know the other ones. We chose BPAC because we were convinced at that time that BPAC was the right solution for our perimeter. We were quite reluctant, to be frank, to choose BPAC because they weren't well known, famous, and because of their size. And that's why we asked them at the beginning, before that project, okay, and if you disappear, because it's a moving market, etc., what can be done to try to convince us to choose your solution? We are fully convinced that this solution, compared to the other ones, is good, but what about your company? And they were the only ones, because it was the same with the other solutions and vendors, and they were the only one to say, okay, you're not ready to trust us, but if we disappear for one reason or whatever the reasons, you could plug our solution into your infrastructures. So we asked the IS team to assess this plan B, just in case, and the plan B could work. So we knew that we were okay with the solution at the time of the project, of the RFP, and we knew that we could have a plan B if necessary. So that's why all the people around the table were convinced about this solution. Now, after 2 years with BPAC, and that's why I'm here, I think that this their solution is very, very, very useful and very powerful. Maybe sometimes too powerful because you can address very specific needs. And during the project, just before the project and just before we choose a BPAC, we asked the last two to come up with a POC, a proof of concept, and we wanted to make our decisions based on what we saw, not PowerPoints, not slides, etc. So we gave them some figures, some cost centers, some examples of what we were used to doing at RCI in terms of purchasing. And after a couple of weeks, I think 2 or 3 weeks, they come up with a demo. And what we saw was roughly what we wanted to have. And at the end of the year, we had a fully workable, I don't know if you say that, a fully functional solution from Procure-to-Pay and contract management. So it was, we were relieved. And after 1 year, we are fully satisfied with this solution. And that's why we are about to deploy this solution elsewhere for direct purchasing and G4 for contract management to be able to centralize what could be, what is worth centralizing. Okay, our idea, we have less than 200 users, 15 to 20 invoices. We had 800 suppliers. Now we achieved to reduce this number. POs roughly between 90 to 100. And yes, our end users are very satisfied with this solution. At the beginning, they were wondering why we were keen on doing this project, because even if the interface or the screens with SAP were not deemed considered very user-friendly, they were quite skeptical at the beginning. And at the end, they are very satisfied with this solution, with this integrated solution from Procure to Pay and our contract management. And I'm very happy to have this contract management, because before we had contracts, I won't say everywhere in the company, but we had contracts in the purchasing direction or in the legal direction, or sometimes no copies of our contracts. So now we scan all our contracts, and when we issue a purchase order, we try to link it to the contract. So we are now satisfied with the way we are doing our purchasing. It's only the beginning for me, because we have many things to do, but we are doing it in the right direction so far. So I think it's okay with my synthesis. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. I'm here. We were wondering if we had to interface our controlling RRP with Pure during the project. And our controlling solution is used mainly by the controllers with the managers who have a budget, and those figures don't change more than 2 or 3 times a year. So we use manual interfaces to inject those figures when they need to be updated into Pure. And when someone creates a purchase request on the screen, he sees what is available, what is invoiced directly onto his screen or a screen. So it's very efficient, because before that they had to open an Excel spreadsheet to see what they had available on their wallet, etc. So we wanted to make things simpler, easier, and not to open something else to have the answer to this question. So and Do we need an automatic interface? I don't think so for RCI because figures don't change a lot during a year. When an invoice is sent to our partner, at RCI, to answer your question, we have roughly 60% of services, 60 to 70% of services. So when an invoice is sent to a CDDoc, the name of the partner, the invoice is scanned and then is injected into Pure. And then the invoice folder is directly sent to the end user, providing the PO number is on the invoice. Most of them now have this number. So it's directly sent to the user. Then, if it's a partial reception, it does or she does the partial reception. And then this information is directly sent during a nightly batch to SAP. And we have 5 minutes left, and we have partial reception, global reception, and we wanted to have the simple task to be asked to the end user. It means that we didn't want to ask twice the user to prove the invoice. So when he does or when she does a partial reception, it's okay. The invoice or the part of this invoice is considered approved, and then the supplier is paid. And we have quantitative reception and qualitative reception. Yes? Yes, and I don't think that we can compare both systems because they don't address the same needs. We were using the module for indirect purchasing, but only for procure to pay. We didn't have any control management repository, etc. And we ask our users to put the right documents to the purchase request when they are issued. So we have many things to control, and we can choose to work with such a supplier or not, based on the choice of the user. It means that if one user chooses to work with one supplier, but this supplier is not in our target, we change the supplier. We couldn't do that with our previous solution process. So we put more data into Pure, and that's why we have so many reports. It may be a huge number of reports, but there are many different needs for the accounting, for the controlling, for my direction, for the end user, and you have all the procure, but you also have the pay part. And in this pay part, we have many things to see if everything is all right or not. And we are lucky too because the partner BPAC has chosen at the beginning of this project is very efficient. So we expected to have difficulties with this dematerialization part, and after 6 or 7 months, this part was stabilized at 90%. We have less people working around this process at every level. So now it's less time consuming, and I think it's not comparable because now we know what to do, and before that we didn't know what to do. So we couldn't track all the non-quality related issues. We knew that we had issues. We knew that we could do things in a better way, but we didn't know very well how. With this, I have new glasses, and I know what to do with all the people involved in this process.
Fundamentally, it works on a user license basis, but that's maybe a bit deceptive as well because it depends on what the package is the customer requires. So there could be limited users, different levels of users. So frankly, the package has to have the ROI that you're asking for, but it's fundamentally based on a user license.
user licenses for the procure-to-pay, and we have a cost target for each invoice dematerialized. So we wanted to have a good cost for this part. And that's why we also choose BPAC, because when we compare those cost structures, we had a very good cost structures for the procure and for the pay part with BPAC and CDDoc. I won't tell you all the costs, but they are very challenging. We knew that this project would be difficult because people don't want to change the way they were doing things. The purchasing, it's only purchasing, it's not core business. It's not, the people don't like to change their habits. So we knew that it would be difficult in terms of change management. Now, if we had to do it again, based on our experience, you have, prior to my answer, you have to know that before doing this project, we did some benchmarks, internal benchmarks with Renault, with Nissan, and we saw some other companies to see. Some of them achieved their projects, some not, and we tried to understand why. So we knew that this one would be a very big project and very difficult to achieve in terms of schedule and budget. Solution, I think that if you ask us, if we go back, rewind, and we are around the table, we would choose the same solution. The team being able to ask BPAC to provide us with project management and counsel, I think, advice, I think we would have done the same thing. For the partner as well, we would have chosen the same partner. We didn't know them at all, too, and we were quite skeptical, and we are very satisfied with the quality of this company and of this partner. We didn't choose this partner. This partner was brought by BPAC at that time. When we launched the first version of Pure, not everything was ready. The first part of the story was ready, and the pay part was ready in February 2014. So we knew that we had to wait a couple of weeks, and it was very difficult to wait. So maybe we should have postponed the go live for 1 month, maybe. But if we had done this, the fiscal year would have been different. So more or less, I think the schedule would have been the same. And the people we work with on the project side were very fully dedicated to this project. So we were very happy because we had people working, trying to understand our needs. And the days were very long sometimes. So same partner, same solution. And it was one of my most difficult projects. I have many projects in my career, and this one was very difficult because we had to achieve this target in terms of budget and in terms of schedule. So, and we were trying to come up with a brand new solution: procure, pay, and the dematerialization. I don't know if in France we had some other benchmarks on this. So some people do the procure to pay, but not at the very same time the dematerialization. So we were a little bit crazy.
Thank you very much. If you have any questions, you can find us upstairs. We'll be here for the rest of the day. And thank you, Jean-Christophe. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.